Okay, so I have a new bit in my collection today, and let me first start out by saying this is never, ever, 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 ever a bit I would use on any horse. There's never a reason to use a twisted wire. This is a twisted wire, copper mouth, loose ring, single jointed snaffle bit. Very nasty bit. I have it because it came on a bridle that I bought. And as I said, I cannot sell this to anybody or give it to anybody because I don't think any horse should use this bit, ever. So, I was going to destroy it, but it's going to take a blowtorch to destroy this in pieces. So instead I decided that it's actually beneficial in that it can help me teach people why single jointed snaffles and especially twisted wire bits are nasty. Now this is not the nastiest single jointed snaffle I've ever seen. It's actually a fairly smooth twisted wire. I have seen some that were really sharp. It also has a little bit of a curve to it, so it's not completely straight. That makes it slightly nicer. And the joint in the center is a fairly small joint, so there's less pinching. But the reason I hate any twisted wire bit is because they are designed, the reason people use them to quote-unquote soften up a horse to a regular bit or increase a horse's response to a regular bit is that they are designed to abrade the horse's tongue every time the horse moves his mouth. These ridges rub. And, you can feel it yourself. It's not horrible, but if you think of putting this in your mouth, and you think of having this in your mouth for a long time, and every time you move your mouth, you've got this rubbing, this abrading, and it makes the horse's mouth sensitive. It sensitizes the mouth, is what it does. And, of course, add to that, you've got the nutcracker effect of a single-jointed snaffle, and this is a nasty, nasty bit. I don't know how well you're going to see this, but if you can see, I put it on my own arm, and I'm squeezing. Now, I'm barely squeezing. I'm just holding the rings with my other hand. You can see how it's dimpling my arm. And when I pull it off, you can see the white mark that it left on my arm. That's what's going to happen to your horse's tongue and his mouth if you put this in your horse's mouth. Not a good thing at all. It's a loose ring, which I'm not really fond of because they give very muddy signals. Every movement of your reins is going to do this to the... So loose rings kind of encourage a horse to tune the bit out for a lot of horses because every movement, and every time they move their mouth, the loose ring moves. So for many reasons, this is not a bit I would ever, ever, ever use or ever tell anybody else to use. If your horse is not listening to your current bit, there are two things that you need to do. One, you need to teach your horse how to listen to the bit. Horses don't normally know how to give to pressure, how to give to the bit. You have to teach them. And you have to teach them from the ground before you ever get on their backs. And unfortunately, a lot of people expect the horse to know automatically just by putting a bit in their mouth. The horse should automatically respond. Well, if you're using any sort of single or double jointed snaffle, the signals you are sending to your horse are very, very confusing and very muddy, and there's no reason why your horse should respond to them without a great deal of training. The other thing, if your horse is resisting your current bit, is to find a bit with less pressure. Many cases, horses, if they feel pain and they feel pressure, they will lean into that because that's their instinct. Their instinct is to push into discomfort and push into pressure because that way they kind of take away some of your ability. If they're leaning into this snaffle, so they're leaning into it, so they're pushing the mouthpiece like this, they've kind of taken away some of your ability to collapse the bit in their mouth. So they will do that instinctively. So go to a bit with less pressure. Instead of a jointed bit, go to a solid mouth bit, one with a port. Change things up a little bit, and also teach your horse more how to give to the bit. So anyways, any of you who want to go see how your own horse's bit, how comfortable it is on them, put it on your own wrist like this, and just grab the rings. You don't even have to grab hard. If it's a single jointed snaffle, you'll feel that nutcracker effect. And now if this wasn't a loose ring bit, that joint would be digging right into my arm. But as it's a loose ring, there's no way to make the mouthpiece dig into my arm. So, that's maybe one advantage of a loose ring. But anyways, go try your own bits on your arms and put yourself in your horse's shoes. And don't ever, ever use something like this on your horse. Your horse will be much happier and much more willing to work for you if you don't put something like this in their mouth.